And hello, everyone, and welcome back to Cyrus Webb Presents here on Amazon Live. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again. Want to also say to you guys, if you're new to us on Amazon, we do invite you guys to hit that follow button to stay connected with all of our programming. You'll see the follow button either here in this corner or down below. You will also see some of the books of our next guests. We're excited to welcome award-winning author Sylvia Dickey Smith to our broadcast today. I've been knowing Sylvia now for many, many years. She's given us some great books, both fiction and nonfiction. Her newest one, though, is perfect for the month we find ourselves in, which is National Novel Writing Month, and that is right now. We're going to talk to Sylvia not only about her own writing journey, what it's been like for her to be able to do what she loves, but also the encouragement she gives for you all in her new book. We also want to welcome those tuning in on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Twitter. If you all have any questions for Sylvia, feel free to be able to put those in the comment section. We'll be glad to be able to bring those up. But Sylvia, great to see you again. Thanks for the time.
Thanks, Cyrus. It's always nice to see you. We've been hanging around this for many years, haven't we?
We have been. And, I think what's so great, Sylvia, about you is you've had such a remarkable career. You've written some great characters that we've been able to know and love. Also given us some series that we've been able to enjoy too. What has it been like for you, Sylvia, to reflect on your own writing career?
Well, Cyrus, looking back, I'm very surprised. As you know, I didn't start writing until I was in my 60s.
Yeah.
And I've been writing for a long time now, so you can start adding up the years. But one of the things that am always remarked about myself is my writing helped me find my voice. When I started writing that first book, which was based on a true story, Dance on His Grave, I knew what my characters needed to say. And so when I could help them say it, I realized for a woman born in the 40s, I didn't have a voice for a long time. And or didn't know that I did. I didn't know how to use it. Didn't even know what I was going to say if I wanted to say. And so I think that's been one of the biggest delights for me, is being able to know what a character needs to say and learning what I need to say and say it in a way that, for the most part is acceptable. Sometimes it might not be acceptable. Someone may not want to hear it. But I guess that's the highlight of my writing and why I wanted to do Right Now, because I've over the years, I've been asked to speak at writers groups and and lead conferences and teach courses at libraries. I taught courses for a year in Hot Springs, Arkansas, when we lived there. And so I accumulated all of those presentations, how we collect. And I got to going through them one day and thinking, I really need to put these all together and get them organized. And then I realized I need to share them. They're what I learned the hard way. And the hard way is one of the best teachers, isn't it? But I thought I need to share that with other people to take and use as it works for them. Some of my suggestions may not, some may. But it helps me know, just get out there and start writing. And that's what the one thing about the month of November and novel writing month. I wrote A War of Her Own in the novel writing month. And so it has special meaning for me.
Yeah, I'm going to talk to you more. It's so funny you mentioned that book. I had that. It's actually in the carousel for those joining us on Amazon. We have it highlighted for them now. I want to talk to you more about that. I want to say hello to Manswell, who's joining us on Facebook. He says hello to you as well, Sylvia. Sylvia, you mentioned a couple of things that I think are so important for us to discuss. One is when you started writing, because I love the fact that for you, hello to you, Dr. Valma. Good to be able to see you as well. She's joining us on the West Coast there, Sylvia. What I love about you, and when you and I first met now, and it's been, like I said, we've known each other a long time. I'll say that, but we first met each other in person almost 15 years ago.
In Houston.
And what I love about you is that you are not afraid to take chances. And if people have looked at books from Sylvia, from A War of Her Own, from Original Sin, to even, of course, being able to give us painted houses, right? I mean, there's been such great variety in your work. Is that what keeps it fun for you?
It really has. And the fun thing about Painted Ladies, they're haunted houses in Hot Springs, Arkansas that I fell in love with when we lived there. And
Hmm.
when I started writing the book, uh, the Miss Fancy, the first house, the yellow house, kept talking to me, and as if she wanted to have a say in the book. And people say, "Well, houses can't have voices," and I think, well, she's sure going to have one. So
Yeah.
it was an unusual experience for the house and the houses, the three sisters, um, to have a life. So that was fun, and I guess that taught me to listen to my characters
Hmm.
because they're going to take me where I need to go.
Yeah. What has it been like for you, Sylvia, to trust your own voice? Because I think that's one of the things that writers in particular, I think so many times they try to be like someone else, or someone says to them, if you want to be successful, you have to write like this author. If you want to be able to make it, you have to be able to do this. What has helped you to trust your voice regardless of how it comes to you?
Well, one thing is support of a critique group. I
Mm,
was in a long-term critique group. Some have moved away now. We don't meet as often. But I told my critique group, I mean, this house wants to have her say. And people say they can't. And my critique group said, sure they can. Let them talk. And so I think listening to other authors that have learned, and then also just to follow your own inner voice. Because when Miss Fancy started talking, I knew that I had gone the right direction. And so
mm.
the other houses began to have a voice throughout the story. And it was a fun journey for me.
I love the fact, going back to a War of Her Own again. I have it highlighted over there on Amazon. I love the fact that, like yourself, the main character is able to find her own place in the world. You've been
Yes.
able to have your work recognized, Sylvia. What has that been like for you to not only to write and enjoy it, but to have people appreciate it?
Well, it's a dream come true. I never would have thought that I would be where I am. And I'm happy where I am. A lot of authors achieve a whole lot more and write a whole lot more books, but I am very happy with what I've done. I'm proud of it. Some of my books, I say Original Sin, it took a lot of guts to write that book,
Yeah,
but I knew I needed to write it because she kept talking to me. So I think listening to those characters that show up in our head sometime, we don't even know they're coming, and then all of a sudden they're there. And
yeah.
follow those voices in your head,
Hmm.
and you always have to look at it, evaluate it, question it, and see if it's working. But when you get confirmation, keep going.
Keep
People
going.
say, I've got these words and I want to write. We had this conversation on Facebook last night. I have these words and I know I need to write, but how do I sit down and start? And to me, I said, sit down and put those words on paper. And it doesn't matter if they make sense, if they're out of order, if they're nouns, adjectives, adverbs. It doesn't matter. Put them down and keep going.
Yeah,
Because I think sometimes we think books and stories come to us real fast, and maybe they do to some people, but not to everyone. I usually know kind of what I'm wanting, but when I get in that book, my characters take over and
yeah.
they decide the direction the book is going to go. If I will just follow that and listen, uh, they don't lead me wrong.
Yeah, such a great thing. I want to say, for those who are just tuning in, welcome. And we have people over on YouTube as well. Welcome to you all. We're simulcasting this broadcast, even though we're originating on Amazon. So if you guys are on the Amazon side, I see some of you have already clicking through on Sylvia's books. The main one we're talking about today, because it is National Novel Writing Month, is right now. We're going to dive more into it in a moment. But we do have some of the other books from Sylvia there as well, including A War of Her Own that we mentioned, and Sacred Lessons. Again, another one of my favorite ones there,
Yes.
that's on Amazon right now as well, Sylvia. So I want to go to something you write in right now. And I've read this book myself, and I love the examples you give. But one thing I thought was really interesting that you talk about are action verbs. And I love the fact that the way you talk about the action that verbs give to your story, and you kind of give some warnings of things for people to watch when they're using them. But I wanted to key in on that very thought of
Okay.
action, because I love that thought. As I mentioned that you were just having this conversation, so many people have a story in them, but they don't take that action. What
Actually,
has
I
it been
think we
like for
all
you?
do.
Yeah, well, you know what, that's true. So what has that been like for you to encourage people to act, to actually to do that work that they say they want to do?
Humbling. It's humbling, but it's also rewarding.
Yeah.
I I think, and particularly women, I write women characters mostly, the
Mhm.
men characters in the book, but the protagonist is usually female.
Yeah.
And I think so many women have those words inside them that they haven't even found yet. But if they just sit down and start putting words on paper, those words will come, because women live a varied life. I mean, there's all kinds of different lives that women live, but we all have stories that come from what our experiences are. And one of the characters that I've enjoyed the most is Boo Murphy in Swamp Whisperer. I
Mm,
grew up in Orange, Texas, and a lot of swamp, a lot of bayous. And I used to go with my first husband, who was a minister, to visit people in their homes. And I fell in love with that down home bayou kind of lingo and lifestyle. And my brother told me a story about his father in law and his experience in the bayou. And so when I said, okay, I'm going to write it, but it's going to be an old woman that's going into the bayou to
mm,
look for spirits, fish, whatever she looks for and what she finds.
mm.
So I don't know if that answered your question or not, but I think it's mainly taking those events that stick out in your life that have caught your attention, that you just have more words to use with that, creating another story, another life, another character, and and just go with it and trust your own instinct.
Right. And I think whether we're talking about writing fiction or nonfiction, Sylvia, that definitely applies. I'm going to read something you wrote in right now. For those that
Okay.
have the paperback like I do, it's on page 39. It's under the heading Writing with Purpose. And you say this: when we write, our purpose is not to get to a specific place in a book, it is to enjoy each step along the way. Annie Dillard says, one of the few things I know about writing is this: spend it all, shoot it all, play it all right away, every time. Give it all, give it now. Do you still
Oh,
feel that sense of urgency, Sylvia, for yourself when it comes to when characters speak to you? You've mentioned that a few times in this
yeah.
interview. When characters speak to you, do you feel that urgency to go ahead and to find out who that character is and to tell that story?
Yes, yes, I do. I am working on a new one. I wrote a short story with Sidra's
Oh,
brother before he dies, and
mhm,
I am thinking of turning that into a Sidra story. And
okay.
it is, I just think it's a powerful story that needs to be told.
Mhm.
And
You,
and it is, the working title is Growing Up Dead.
mm.
And I say that to people and they say, you can't grow up dead. I say, well, wait and read my book. You might change your mind.
Well, that's quite a tease there, Sylvia.
Yeah, it's a story of a girl who gets abused and murdered,
Mm,
and gets thrown in a empty
mm,
well, dry well, her body, and she has a way of coming back many
interesting.
years later. So
Mm,
I'm excited to discover that a little bit more.
yeah. You also in the same section in Writing with Purpose, Sylvia, you talk about these what you call the fabulous cracks. I wanna read a little bit about that because I think it's really interesting for those who are interested in writing or looking for that extra push. You say this: let me make this simpler. Let's circle the cracks and the questions that get to the core of them. There are countless ways into our writing. These ways usually involve questions like how do I start? Where? Who are the characters? What shall I name them? What's my plot going to be? And then you say this: these are fabulous questions because they create cracks. Fabulous cracks. The beauty of our story is often in the cracks created by those questions, not in the questions themselves. I want to talk about that because it
Hmm.
seems like for you, from what you've said, even in this conversation, and what I've known about you over the years, is that you're led more by the question of those characters, like who those characters are. As it mentions here, their story. Is it the story that still drives you today?
It is a story, did you say?
Yeah, is it the story of the
Oh, is it the
characters?
story?
Yeah, yeah, that
Um,
drives you. Hmm.
yes, yes. I think because they live. Cyrus, you've written, you know, our
Hmm.
characters live,
Yeah.
and are inside us, and sometimes they just keep on knocking on the door.
Hmm.
When are you going to write this one? Aren't you going to write
Yeah.
this one? I've been telling you about this. I've been hanging around a while. I'm
Yeah.
kind of filling in words, but it's the attitude that I feel, just sort of like growing up dead. Um, that one keeps coming back and coming back. And there's something there that I need to tell and that we need to learn. Whether it's, it doesn't have to be true to write in a book, right?
Right.
Yeah. I don't know if
Exactly.
we grow up after we die or not.
Hmm.
I'll let you know.
I think the other thing is that I love that you talk about in this book, and I think it's a interesting thing too. You give some great examples throughout the book, and as you give these examples, one of the things that I wanted to mention, let me get to it here, is the theme. You actually have a topic here. What is theme exactly? And you kind of boil it down to these simple tenets. You say, what does the story tell us about what it means to be human? What does it say about how humans react to circumstances beyond their control? I want to talk about that second one because when I think about original sin, I think about that second one, about things that are outside of your control,
Mhm.
right? Talk to us about that for you. What has that been like for you to use those tenets, Sylvia, in your own writing?
Well, it certainly encourages me to step outside
Hmm.
my sense of the world, and I can do this, I can't do that, because I was born in the 40s. I was raised in the period where women, girls can do this, and boys can do that,
Yeah.
and so I think if I'm understanding your question,
Hmm.
helping my uh, characters step outside. Sometimes we think, oh, it's too hard. I can't do that because it's just too hard. Everything will fall
Right.
apart, and I can't do that. And Cynthia does. She doesn't have a choice. She steps outside and she thought she would never do that.
Hmm.
And I done that myself. Probably most everybody has at one time or
Right.
another. But
Right.
we put a cage around who we are. I think sometimes we think, oh, I couldn't do that. I could never do that. Or I wish I could do that. And sometimes we just need, I say, find our voice.
Hmm.
And I think when you find your voice, that's when you're able to step outside the expectations and do what you know is right for you with all kindness, gentleness, thoughtfulness. Um, but that's how we learn who we are.
Right.
My characters have helped me learn who I am
Hmm.
because they give me their voice to share in the books. And then when I do that, I incorporate that voice into who I am and what I want to do with my life and how I want it to go.
Yeah.
And the time that we all have left.
Yeah.
Do I want to make a difference in this world? And I think writers make the difference in this world. Authors make the difference. It doesn't matter whether the books are fiction or true life. Stories make a difference to the reader,
Right.
and I know they do for me. They
Yeah.
help me find my voice,
Yeah.
even if I'm an old yellow house.
Mhm. I love that, and I totally agree with you. Midnight Ace Book Bar says hello to you over on Facebook, Sylvia, and Dr. Velma says that describes my journey of finding my voice as well. So
Oh,
she
great,
connected with that too.
great.
So
Yeah.
you bring up an interesting point. So I'm going to ask you this question.
Okay.
Well, let me see. Midnight Ace Book Bar says I agree that writers are powerful as well. Do you find that you draw strength from your characters, Sylvia, or do they draw on your strength?
Um, Good question. I think probably from the beginning I drew on theirs,
Okay.
and I think perhaps now they draw on mine
Mm,
because of the growth that I have experienced
mm,
over the last 40 years since I started writing, and
wow.
being able to use the words that are in my head, and finding sometimes the words you don't want to blurt out, but you do want to find a way to say them in a way that is constructive and not detrimental. And that takes some work sometime.
Yeah. Is it then hard for you then, Sylvia, to let the characters go when you finish a book?
I hadn't thought about that question. I don't know if I ever let them go.
Oh, okay.
They are still so much a part of me.
Right.
And the experience those houses had over the decades, um, it's almost like I experienced those through their eyes.
Hmm.
And then Cynthia Carter in Original Sin,
Yeah.
uh, I didn't experience the exact thing that she experienced, but in a way, I did go through some of that in my life,
Right.
and you just have to find your voice and keep moving in it. Um, Not necessarily full steam ahead. Sometimes we take it a little bit slower and a little bit softer. I am
Yeah.
conscious of other people's feelings, and our words can do harm and can hurt. And
Yeah.
so, if I'm going to use a word that I think might do that, I choose that word very carefully and
Yeah.
think of how I might couch that in such a way that is a little more comfortable.
Yeah. Well, I have to say, us being friends now for over a decade, and this is just the second time we've been face to face. The
It
first time
is.
was actually in person. So I'm thankful for Amazon and this platform to be able to see you. But I'm so proud of you, Sylvia, and I
Thank you.
value your friendship so much. And I'm so glad that we had a chance to be able to have this conversation. Again, everyone, Sylvia Dickey Smith has been our guest, award-winning author. Her newest book is perfect for National Novel Writing Month. It's called Right Now. It is available on Amazon, both in print as well as the Kindle edition. You all can get it there on Amazon, as well as her book, Sacred Lessons, that I mentioned, and a War of Her Own as well. They all are on Amazon too. Sylvia, how can our audience stay connected with you?
Well, I was just going to say, if particularly in the Right Now book, if
Mhm.
anyone has a question on anything in there, or if they want to have a different opinion, or if they want to just discuss it, just go on my Facebook page and send me a note, and
Okay,
I'll be glad to engage conversation.
love
Always
that.
in conversation.
Love that. Sylvia, thank you again. Congratulations, and looking
Thanks,
forward to
Cyrus.
our next chat together.
Okay, me too.
All right. And we thank your audience for tuning in to another great segment of Cyrus Webb Presents. For those tuning in on Amazon, if you found a book that you like, make sure you guys do add it to your cart. And don't forget to check out also before you leave on Amazon, make sure you guys do hit that follow button. You'll see it either here in this corner or down below next to Sylvia's book. So make sure you guys click that to stay connected with all of our programming. For those tuning in on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, and Twitter, we appreciate you all being with us as well. Until next time, I'm Cyrus Webb saying thank you so much for joining. We'll talk to you soon. Take care.